About 2 months ago, I started this new Sims 3 save file in Monte Vista with the aim of this to become my new legacy challenge attempt, where I start by giving Lolita Goth the life she deserves. If you're unfamiliar with Lolita, she can be found buried in the Goth Manor graveyard in Sunset Valley on starting a fresh save there. And what actually happened to her has been one of the big Sims lore mysteries. My other aim with this save is for it to be my digital comfort blanket where I just lean into a bunch of my favorite aspects of The Sims 3. So today I want to update you all on how everything's been going. Also, definitely stick around till later in this video as I could do with your help to decide on some of the next steps to take this household in. If you missed the last episode, I'll catch you up to speed really quickly. I'm focusing a lot on playing with World Adventures during this first generation, so I took Lolita over to China a few times, and this is where she met her girlfriend Florence Taylor, who also lives in Monte Vista. These two hit it off straight away as they're both hopeless romantics. I really adore these two together, and I wish that finding love in real life was as easy as rocking up to your first ancient tomb while on holiday. Lolita also got into the self-employed writer career. My main aims for her as our central character for this first gen is to have her master the writing skill, max the writer career, and to hit the top of each of the new skills which came with World Adventures. So photography, nectar making, and martial arts. I also want to reach visa level 3 in at least one of the destination worlds, if not all of them. So moving on to what I've been up to in this household over the last month or so, a lot has happened. In the last episode, I mentioned how my biggest dilemma was what to do with Florence, as she was a little bit of a blank slate. She was originally in the science career, so I yanked her out of that and got her into the culinary career instead, as she's a natural cook. I've also had her gain a good few levels in this career, and she's not far off mastering her cooking skill too. You might notice that in a lot of the later footage too, we're now getting harassed by the paparazzi, and this is because Florence has gained 4 celebrity star levels and Lolita has 3 as well, I believe. I did want this to happen as I love the idea that Florence is this up-and-coming famous chef around Monte Vista who is challenging the town's established top chef Chino Ferrari. Not long after starting in the culinary career, Florence got an opportunity which meant that we needed to head to Egypt to pick up the falafel recipe. So I had the couple head over there the second that winter hit. I really wanted to escape the snow, honestly. For this trip, I pretty much just had Lolita focusing on completing quests and building her visa level, as again, that was one of my main goals for this generation. And I had Florence stick in her werewolf form and hunt for collectibles mostly. We got some flame fruit from one of the big pyramids, which I'll be getting in the garden eventually. Here Lolita also fought on Mummy and won. In the very first video where I set up this legacy save, I did mention that one of my kind of miscellaneous goals was to have some interactions with a mummy. It would be cool if I could collect all the fragments to construct my own mummy's sarcophagus at home eventually, but I won't be too torn up if I don't get around to it, now that we've had this first run-in. I did notice that I missed a couple of treasure spots in the big pyramid because I haven't got the extra strong axe from China yet, so that is still on the to-do list. After that trip, I had Lolita process everything using the gem cutter and artisan machine, as Florence had collected so much stuff, including 2 Tiberium gems. I've also been updating my collection tracker to make sure that I keep back one of everything, as another miscellaneous goal of mine is to eventually build up a really big vault to display all of the treasures that the household has built up over time. After the first Tiberium grew, again, I wanted to keep back the second one. I got everything else consigned, and within a few days, we made about 85,000 simoleons. Before then though, we had a very eventful snowflake day where we had 2 house fires and we went to a really lame gift giving party. If you want to hear more about that, I've been doing some day in the life shorts which you can find on the channel. I'll also quickly note how if you're enjoying the video so far, I'd really appreciate it if you consider dropping a like or even subscribing to keep up to date with my journey with this save file. Right now, only about 4.8% of my viewers are subscribed, but also watching to the end is a huge help in showing YouTube's algorithms that my videos are worth showing to more people. Moving on though, spring had also arrived by now, as I'd cut down winter to about 4 days because we are in Italy after all. I spent some of the cash we'd made on investing in some property too, but in the day that we'd earn all that cash from consignment, we also had our dresser repossessed as I'd forgot to pay the bills in amongst all of the traveling. So to make myself feel better, I had Lolita and Florence pick up sticks and move into a much bigger house. This one is so cute, but it definitely won't be the forever home, as the lot isn't big enough for everything I want to do with this legacy house over time. Get used to this house being only mediocrely decorated for the rest of the episode. However, now that we have more space to get a garden going, foreshadowing, and for children, consider this a very heavy-handed attempt at some foreshadowing. The biggest change I made to the house in this episode was to get that collection room set up. I think it looks pretty cool, but there already isn't enough room for everything that I want to put in here. Anyway, we had a few days in Monte Vista where Florence turned in the falafel quest and Lolita published her first romance novel. This makes over 1,000 simoleons a week in royalties, but it did take forever to write. I believe it crossed about 700 pages. I eventually want her to specialize in writing romance novels, as again, she is a hopeless romantic, but I want to complete the skill quest first, which has you earning about 30k in royalties to then be able to write books much quicker. I then decided to take Lolita and Florence over to France, and here is where I made some really big money moves, as the yucky crypto bros would say. Once again, I had Lolita focus on quests. I realized here that I'd actually never explored a tomb in France before, but after completing that, she got a quest surrounding nectar making, which was good because I again want at least someone in the household to work on it. If not Lolita, then Florence eventually. Within about 2 days, I had the two get engaged in the park, and then I went balls to the wall and had them get married. Because they were getting papped constantly at base camp, even when they were sleeping or woohooing in the shower, I took them over to a campsite to elope and have a cute little romantic night where they exchanged their rings. I thought that as neither of them really know too many folks back in town, and they're both hopeless romantics, that they would be down to do something super spontaneous like this. And they did do a little bit of risky woohooing during this trip, so it wasn't much of a surprise that a few days after we returned home, Florence was pregnant. Then a day or so later, we welcomed our first member of Generation 2 to the family, who is little baby Bella Goth. I really couldn't help it. I thought it would be super cute because this technically means that she is the original Bella Goth in the lore of the save file, as the Bella we find in Sunset Valley is obviously a child and hasn't married into the Goth household yet. To mark the end of this episode, I had Lolita throw a party at the house because it was her and Florence's birthday. I thought it went well, but apparently it was crap because it ended before they both aged up, so my bad there. So going forward then, from now on, I'll just be taking Lolita traveling, I expect, as it does feel a little bit overwhelming trying to manage multiple sims while working on the quests and navigating the very trap-heavy tombs. However, I am hoping that just 1 or 2 more trips to each location should be enough to have me get visa level 3 in each area, which again was one of my goals for the start of this legacy. I really want Lolita to master her writing skill soon and to make some proper headway on gaining levels in the work from home career, as I definitely underestimated how hard it would be to progress through it, as the weekly royalty payments don't count towards promotion funds. This will hopefully help me on moving towards my next glow up mission, as I've started building a house which will hopefully be the one that we move into a little bit more permanently. Please bear in mind that I'm not an incredible builder and I do find it quite overwhelming to build big McMansions, yet somehow that is what all of my builds eventually evolve into. I've not even decorated the lot just yet and the house is already quite expensive, so we might move into it in the next episode if I can earn enough to do so. We'll see. Now, the biggest question I have is, do you guys think that I should have Lolita and Florence try for another baby, or should we have Bella be our main one and only for Gen 2? I feel like I definitely wouldn't want to have more than 2 kids in Generation 2, as I can get a little bit carried away with expanding the family later on, and I do get a little bit overwhelmed with having too many Sims in the household. But let me know what you think. I think that if I did have another kid, I would try to make it somewhat leaning into the lore of the Goth family, but again, if you have any ideas, let me know. My main plan for baby Bella is to have her mirror the personality of the canonical Bella Goth, which is why I gave her the good and brave traits so far. I think I want to have her eventually go into the film career from late night, but again, let me know if you have any other ideas. The save is all about doing cozy, fun things, so I'm so open to suggestions. I love how much you guys are connecting with this series so far, so I just wanted to say thank you so much for all the lovely comments some of you guys have been leaving already too. Admittedly, I'm putting together this video a few weeks after I did the bulk of the filming for it, as I was focusing on testing and making content around the new Sims 4 Life and Death expansion, and I'm really glad that I've been doing this series, as it's almost been acting like a bit of a gaming journal, so I don't feel super lost for the next time that I jump into the game for an extended play session, which I am hoping will be very soon, especially now that the first member of Gen 2 has been born. Anyway, look forward to that coming in a few weeks. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I'll see you again soon.